Have you ever been in a conversation where you have no clue what your friends are talking about? You just nod, you smile, and you pray that nobody asks for your opinion. One of your friends casually says that they're prioritizing progressive overload to maximize hypertrophy, and you're like, oh yeah, I love hypertrophying. Well, we don't want you to be the person who has to Google these fitness terms in the gym locker room. So today we've got you covered with 10 common training terms and 10 common nutrition terms explained in a way that you can actually understand. So stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. My name is Jonathan. If this is your first time finding our podcast, my wife Blakely and I own Digital Barbell. We're an online training and nutrition coaching company, helping people all over the place lose fat, get strong, get fit, and look like they work out without wasting time on things that they don't need to be doing, getting hurt, or getting bored to tears in the process. We're currently living, working, and traveling full-time in our Airstream, which is why if you're watching this on YouTube, that you're looking at this beautiful setting right here. Today we're going to be getting into these 10 common workout terms and 10 common nutrition terms, so let's just dive right in. Let's start with the 10 common workout terms. Number one is progressive overload. This is really just a fancy way to say do a little bit more over time. I'm talking about more weight, more reps, or even more effort. If there's no overload, there's no progress. And if there's no progress, there's no results. And a little secret for you, this is one of the top 10 reasons that people who work out a lot but don't look like it are just not making progress. There's no progressive overload. We wrote a free 10-day email course on the top 10 reasons you could be working out and not look like it. I'll put a link to that in the show notes for this episode. All right, number two is hypertrophy. This is the process of muscles getting bigger, not to be confused with muscle toning, which is also hypertrophy, just with less intimidation. Number three, AMRAP. This stands for as many reps or as many rounds as possible in a given time frame. It also stands for this is probably gonna hurt. Number four is the eccentric phase. This is the lowering portion of an exercise. So as you're descending in a squat or as you're lowering the bar back down in a bicep curl. A little factoid for you, a little bonus tip. It's the eccentric part of the movement that actually makes you the most sore because it's when you're really incurring the most muscle damage. You don't need to overemphasize the eccentric part of your movements, but don't neglect it either. All right, number five is RPE. This stands for a rating of perceived exertion. It's basically a 1 to 10 scale of how hard you're working. A number 10 on the scale would be, I'm pretty sure my soul left my body on that set. And an RPE of 4 or 5 on an exercise means you might have well just been scrolling Instagram instead of doing the set as far as how effective it was. All right, somewhat related is number 6, a hard set. A hard set is a weightlifting set that's done at about an RPE of 8. That means you probably could have done 1 or 2 more reps in the set if you absolutely had to. And if you want to get the best results possible, almost all of your sets of weightlifting should be hard sets right in that RPE 8 range. It's the perfect spot to be able to build muscle without having to push so close to failure that you get absolutely burnt out. I would say out of all the reasons that our clients get better results than they have in the past is helping them understand how hard they should be working in each of their sets. All right, number 7, DOMS. This stands for delayed onset muscle soreness. This is that feeling 24 or 48 hours after your workout where you're like, oh my gosh, why are my legs so sore? I can barely get down on the toilet. Is having DOMS a sign of having a good workout? Sometimes, but is it a requirement for getting incredible results? No. Okay, number 8 is periodization. This is a structured plan for your training so you're not just randomly doing exercises and hoping for results. Think of it like a roadmap for your workouts instead of just going on a blindfolded road trip. Number 9, compound and isolation exercises. Compound exercises are ones that involve multiple joints and multiple muscle groups at the same time, and isolation exercises usually involve only one joint and one muscle group at a time. It would be the difference between like a squat and a deadlift versus something like a bicep curl and a tricep extension. The digital barbell training method includes a healthy dose of both compound and isolation exercises and we think your program should too. Number 10 on the workout terms defined is metabolic conditioning, or Metcon. This one was made famous by CrossFit. These are workouts designed to push you to keep going when your brain, your lungs, and your muscles want to give up. We believe that Metcons are a great conditioning tool, but we don't think you should do them every day. It can be a pretty quick road to burnout both mentally and physically. All right, let's move on to the 10 nutrition terms defined. Number 1 is a big one. We're talking about a calorie deficit. This is the process by which every single diet that causes weight loss works. It's when you eat fewer calories than you normally do, and your body makes up for that difference by tapping into your existing body fat. Like I said, it's not magic, but it's how every single diet works. Number 2, macronutrients, or macros. These are the 3 categories that all of the food that you eat can be broken down into. We're talking about protein, carbs, and fat. You've probably heard of counting macros. It's really just a way of accounting for calories and potentially creating a calorie deficit. But macronutrients, along with the kind of training that you do, have a powerful ability to help change your body composition. Number 3, the thermic effect of food, or TEF. This is basically the energy cost of the food that you eat, meaning how many calories your body burns extracting the nutrients out of that food. Protein, out of the 3 macronutrients, has the highest thermic effect, so you could kind of think of chicken breast as a metabolism booster. Number 4, insulin sensitivity. As you might have guessed, this is basically how well your body responds to insulin. Good insulin sensitivity means efficient energy use. Poor insulin sensitivity means bigger potential for fat gain and metabolic issues in your future. If you want to know the 2 most effective ways to improve your insulin sensitivity, it's through strength training and reducing your body fat. Number 5, anabolic versus catabolic. Anabolic means we're building. We're talking about tissue here, muscle, connective tissue, and catabolic means we're breaking down. This could be fat, but if you're under eating protein and you're not training with weights, it could also mean breaking down muscle tissue. If you want to improve your body composition and get stronger, you should be trying to spend a lot of time in an anabolic state by lifting weights, eating protein, and eating enough food in general. Number 6, glycogen. These are the carbs that your body stores for use later in your muscles and in your liver. If you've ever done a really low carb diet and after a few weeks you felt depleted or kind of felt like a deflated balloon, it's because your glycogen stores had been depleted. Side note on this one, if you do the kind of training that we do with weights, depleting your body of glycogen isn't a good idea because that's the primary source for our workouts. All right, number 7 is bioavailability. You probably heard this one. This is really just how well your body can absorb a nutrient out of a food or out of a supplement. Because truthfully, just because a food or a supplement has something in it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to use it efficiently. Number 8, and this one probably could have been first, is energy balance. This is the long-term relationship between how many calories you eat and how many calories you burn. Notice that I said long-term here. If you don't take anything else away from this podcast, I want you to understand that how many calories you eat on any given day isn't important. Energy balance is struck over a much longer time frame, think weeks and months. And I know I might get a lot of hate for this one, but energy balance is the thing that controls whether you're gaining or losing weight. Not all the things that you're seeing online on social media about your blood sugar or your cortisol or all of those things. Weight gain or loss always comes down to long-term energy balance. All right, number 9 is fasted training. Fasted training just means you're training when your blood sugar is at baseline levels because you haven't eaten in several hours. Most of the time, people are talking about not eating since dinner the night before and training fasted the next morning. Some people swear by doing fasted cardio or fasted workouts for fat loss, but the research is clear that as far as timing goes, there's nothing wrong with training fasted or fed as long as your total energy balance over the course of the days, weeks, and months works out. Do whatever makes you the most consistent. Number 10 is processed versus ultra processed food. I mean, technically anything that we eat is processed. I mean, even cutting up a carrot is processing. But what we're talking about here is how closely does this food resemble its original state? Think about the difference between a cheese puff that comes out of a bag and a piece of cheese. If you want to feel your best, lose weight, avoid getting sick as often, try to focus most of your diet on minimally processed foods while still allowing some of your calories to go to the ultra processed stuff that, let's just face it, tastes really good. To us, understanding all these terms isn't just about sounding smart or being able to talk about this stuff with other people. It's about being informed so we can make better choices with our training and nutrition. If you feel like you've just kind of been guessing your way along your fitness journey, Take this episode as a reminder that sometimes having more knowledge can lead to getting better results. In last week's podcast, Blakely and I talked about the 5 things that we would do differently in our fitness journey if we were starting over today. And number 5 was becoming a student. And learning about these kinds of things is a great example of that. If what you're doing right now for your workouts and your nutrition isn't working, we'd love to help you get better results. Check out the description below to see how we can work together. Have a great day.